Hello, everyone. It's a special live, a special day, and special AJ with her special shirt. That's fantabulous, right? Look at, I know. Where do you get all your cool clothes, Chef AJ?
Well, I got to say, Etsy is a great place. I got a lot of my chef coats on Etsy, but that really colorful one that looks like the shirts Dr. McDougall wears, I got that from the artist that painted Dr. McDougall's shirt, Julie Smith at Art by JAS.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, if anybody hasn't heard, there's a new book in town. Hello. Chef AJ's Sweet Indulgence, and I'm seeing some really good comments about the book. I'm seeing Lori G says, I received my book last night. Can't wait to make the first of many of Chef AJ's sweet treats. Susan Winslow ordered hers earlier, and Adriana has it on her wish list for next month, which is awesome. So
and she won't get the bonuses. She won't get the bonuses worth over $1,000 if she waits.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about the bonuses?
Yeah, and I mean, I appreciate you buying the book anytime, but if you buy it by August 31st, that'll increase my chances of being a New York Times bestseller. And if you did buy it already, or if you will buy it before that date or on that date, save your receipt, go to sweetindulgencebook.com, and we will send you over $1,000 worth of virtual bonuses, including a filmed video of all 157 recipes, an 18-hour Sweet Indulgence masterclass that I taught 2 years ago that sold for $497, a 6-hour Make It Cooked, Make It Raw class with Lissa Maris of Raw Food Romance, and the audiobook of Unprocessed, but only if you buy before August 31st.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff. And you said that's at sweetindulgence.com, right?
Sweetindulgencebook.com.
Sweetindulgencebook.com. Sweetindulgencebook.com. And I know I've sent that out in a newsletter, but I will make sure I put it up on here too. Tanya said she went shopping for ingredients today. Lori says it's a beautiful book. She loved reading it. Denise got hers yesterday. Tanya's here. And Tanya actually was telling me about some stuff in your book she was making. Gail got her book and it looks great. Mona's here. Nice to see you. VJ says the book is so beautiful and I think I will not buy another book ever.
Oh, thank you.
That's awesome. Angela from Boomer and Beyond Wellness is here. Welcome. She got hers in Kindle format, so don't forget you can get it in Kindle or a hardback format, whichever works for you.
You can still get the bonuses with the Kindle.
Oh, that's good to know too. I think that's really great. Roxy says, thank you, Chef AJ. I received my book on Tuesday. It's beautiful. CJ from Scotland is here and can't wait to get a copy of the book. She pre-ordered early in the month, but it's not released there. She's in Scotland, so it doesn't release there till the 24th of September.
She can still get her bonuses now and get started.
Oh, great. And with Amazon, you either received a little email, you could screenshot your order inside
your order history. You know, everything I've ever ordered in my life is there. It's called order history.
That's awesome. Yeah, and oh, good, Apple, we love you. Apple is the best, you guys. She put in the Claim Your Bonuses email, or URL, so you can get it. And Cheryl has received her book, but can't get the bonuses. She's emailed health@Chef AJ. Maybe go ahead and email them back again. I know Chef AJ has just been running like a crazy person. So
we will help you, I promise.
Oh yeah, I know you will. Oh, and Struth bought 2 books. One is a gift, and one's mine. And all mine.
You know, you can claim the bonuses for the person you buy the gift for. Just use a different email.
That's a great idea, too. I wouldn't have necessarily thought about it. And it's already arrived in Australia, which I think is kind of cool. So she probably ordered on the American site, I'm thinking. Angela, Boomer and Beyond Wellness, says the platform for the book is wonderful. It's easily accessible, which is great. Let's see. You're getting a little bit of echo. We'll see what we can do. I can put in some earbuds if we need to, but for right now, why don't you go ahead? I'm going to put you on full screen, and why don't you talk about the recipe you're going to make, and then I'll make the recipe I'm going to make after that. And I'll ask you questions along the way.
Sounds great. Thanks, Kathy. Well, let me just show you a couple of recipes I've been making all week. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can see them. These are the famous Goodman's peanut chews. And what I really like about my book is you don't need a lot of kitchen skill to make these recipes. This has 4 ingredients, and these are absolutely delicious. They taste like Snickers bars, but they're made out of just whole foods: peanuts, dates, vanilla powder, and 100% cacao. And these came right out of the freezer because we're taking them to the potluck this Sunday. This is one of my 2 favorite recipes of the book, the thumbprint cookies, also with 4 ingredients only, 5 minutes to make. Most of the recipes are very easy to make, including the one I'm going to make right now. And this is called Chocolate Fauxnuts. And it looks like this, depending on the toppings. All right. Ooh. So we're going to need the food processor fitted with the S blade. Looks like the letter S. We want to make sure the food processor is dry, because when you're grinding things like nuts or oats or seeds, if it's a little bit wet, it'll become a paste, and we want to keep this dry. So in the book, there are 157 recipes, and they vary in caloric density for people that are maybe following a lower fat diet, a la Dr. McDougall, Esselstyn, Ornish, Pritikin, or people that can eat a lot more fat, nuts or seeds. Just to give you the breakdown of the 157 recipes, there are 108 low fat, 21 which are semi-decadent, and 28 which are rich and decadent. And each recipe is listed on how much fat it is. We also rate it on its sweetness with a grid: 1, 2, or 3 strawberries. 21 recipes are subtly sweet. 108 are nice and sweet. That's medium sweetness. Those are the ones I tend to prefer. And 28 are superbly sweet. And 9 of the semi-decadent or rich undecadent options offerings can have lower fat options. There is tofu in 8 recipes, and tofu can often be substituted with avocado in certain recipes. Nuts have 43 of the recipes, but you can often do what I'm going to do today, which is substitute oats. And there's chocolate in 29 recipes. But you can also do what I'm going to do today, is instead of using cocoa powder, I am using carob powder. So I have measured out my oats. I use gluten-free for everything, pure vanilla bean powder, and my carob powder. Or feel free to use cocoa powder, and also feel free to use walnuts if you prefer to use nuts. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to process this into a flour-like consistency. If you have oat flour on hand and would rather use that, feel free. Anytime a recipe calls for rolled oats, just know it's a little bit more expensive to buy the oat flour than it is to buy the rolled oats and process it yourself. Our Breville has a little timer, and that was 10 seconds. Know that whenever you're grinding nuts or seeds, don't spend too long, because you can get another seed butter. So this is basically like breadcrumbs, and there might be a few pieces of oats that didn't grind, and that's okay. Now I'm going to add my dates. I prefer to use Deglet Nord dates for my recipes, with one exception, the Desert Date Shake, because 1, they're drier, which I prefer in these recipes. 2, they are much cheaper. So I don't know where you guys live, but if you have a Costco or a Costco online, Deglet Nord dates, pitted and organic, sell for $2.29 a pound. McDougall dates can be 3 or even 4 times as much. So I'm going to add the dates to the food processor, and I'm going to process again until it starts to slow down.
I love that. The Chef NJ food processor dance. We need to do a TikTok. It sounds like a whole percussion section back there with the dates.
was a minute, but it was a long minute when you're doing stuff on Zoom. Okay, so how long this takes is going to depend on how powerful your food processor is. And this is the Breville, and it's pretty powerful. The way I know it's ready is I grab some of the batter in my hand and smush it together to see if I can make a ball. But then I break it in half for the break point. And you know what? There's still a few crumbs. So what I need to do is either run it a little longer or maybe add a few more dates. I think I am going to add just a few more dates just to make sure it sticks together. Just a few. And that's why I love teaching hands-on cooking, because in addition to watching it, you can actually feel what I'm going for. So a little bit longer. That was another 20 seconds. It is perfect now. I can feel it. I can also see how now, it smells good when I push it together. It goes like this. So it doesn't look chocolatey with the carob powder, but it still tastes really, really good. And then you want to press it in your pan. Now, you don't have to go out and buy anything special. You can just hand roll these and put a little hole in it. You know, it doesn't have to be shaped like a donut, but it is kind of fun when it is. So you can just press them in right now. I got these 2 for $6.99 on Amazon, but I like to put toppings on, like in the picture. So you could put some chopped nuts, like maybe pecans or chopped peanuts or some unsweetened coconut. But I like to put the streusel topping in. So this streusel topping is one of my favorite recipes in the book. There's 2 versions. There's the regular fat or higher fat version made with pecans, which I'm going to use for Charles. And I keep this in my refrigerator for desserts all the time. I use it in things like the cherry cobbler, the buried treasures, the cherried treasures, for the peanut butter paradise trifle. So these 2 are going to, how many do you want? All 6? I can make them all for you. You think you'll eat these? Oh, yeah. Really? You need all of them? What if we just do like half and half? He says that and then he doesn't eat it and it sits there forever. All right, I'll do, he does like carob. We're a caffeine-free house, so we don't do chocolate, but chocolate is awesome if you can do it. I've always been more of a vanilla person. So I'll do 3 for Charles, and this is with the regular fat streusel. And I'm going to show you, there's so many uses for this streusel, even in recipes that don't call for it. It's fantastic. If you make the apple pie that won't make you die and put the streusel on the pie when you bake it, it's great on fresh fruit or ice cream. And I found a new way to use it last night. I had this memory. My sister hasn't gotten back to me. But for some reason, when we were little, my mom, I guess when there wasn't any formal dessert, would give us, and tell me if anybody else ever ate this, but I'm born in 1960, a banana with sour cream and sugar. And usually it had brown sugar on it, but I guess if we were out of brown sugar, it had white sugar. And it may sound weird, but it was really, really good. And so I don't really have sour cream here, even vegan sour cream. I only make it when I make my enchilada strata, but I do have some unsweetened yogurt, vanilla yogurt. And I thought, boy, I wonder if it would work with that. And boy, was it delicious. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to make, because you don't always have time to do a long recipe, and you can have something that's a little bit more special, you know, than just a piece of fruit. You can sprinkle either version of the streusel topping on a pear or an apple, microwave it for a couple of minutes, and you have what I call a quick pear delight, which is fabulous. So now I'm going to take my batter and I'm just going to press it in the mold so that the topping will stick to it. And what I like to do is put this in the freezer for a little bit to set up. I also tend to like my desserts cold. I also like to keep them in the freezer because then they're there if I have a snack attack, but I'm not looking at them every single time I'm opening the refrigerator.
That's a great idea.
There we go. Yeah, I mean, and also I have the kind of freezer with the 2 levels. So the first one is like the ice and the frozen fruit. So it's, you know, I'm not always looking at dessert except for this week when that's all I'm looking at. All right.
You must have dessert coming out of your ears. So I want to ask, Tanya was asking, so does she doesn't need a silicone pan. Could she use her Wilton nonstick, like regular metal nonstick pan to make those?
I don't see why not. You know what I'm going to do? It looks like I have plenty of batter here. I'm just going to make one without the pan to show you how I would hand roll it, okay? Just so
awesome.
I don't want people to have to buy any pan. And honestly, even though there's recipes that, you could put in the Ninja Creamy or an air fryer or a waffle iron, I think the only thing you really need to do this is a food processor, even more so than a blender. I just kind of like the cool, I like the, the cool look of this, and it's just fun to press. I have a little brownie pan like this that has 24 cavities where you can make everything in little bites. So this is good. Maybe I'll bring these to the potluck also on Sunday, and I could also cut them in half. I'm kind of making these a little bit fuller just because there's a little bit of batter, and it looks like there's going to be enough for me to hand roll one. But instead of taking them out here when they're not completely set up, what I'm going to do is just show you the ones I made yesterday so that we would have them in time. So press, press, press. Make it a little bit smooth on top. So I'll place these in the freezer, and I'm going to show you the one. First, I'll just show you how I would hand roll it if I didn't have. Can you see that? Yeah. If I didn't have the pan. And I didn't always have the pan. So what I would probably do is just make a ball or a circle. Yeah. First, you know what? I find it works better if you're trying to flatten something to make it into a ball first. And then press it, because then it goes pretty round, And, I actually have a little cutter that I use for the cucumbers. But you could also just take a knife, you don't have to have anything special, and just cut a little circle out like this. And then poke it through. You don't have, I don't know if I wrote this in the book about that, but I mean, why not? And then you have a little donut hole. If you guys remember Jack LaLanne, he'd say, the only thing healthy about the donut is the hole. So look, this is like a perfect little donut shape. And I've never tried baking these or dehydrating these, but that might be kind of fun to do. So I got the perfect little donut here. You can see, you can use it as binoculars. And then I got the little donut hole here, which you can just pop in your mouth. So let me show you what they look like when they're done. You just pop them out, and then the topping just sticks to it. And again, it's probably more of a contrast when you do use the cocoa powder. But I think they still look pretty good. And I know that they taste good because I tasted it myself. Now this one, sprinkling it everywhere. This one, I just put plain coconut on because I just think that looks really, really pretty to do that. Ooh. Just like, yeah. So then, here, this could put some cinnamon on this one. This could be the plain one. So there we have, in just a few minutes, a plate of donuts, or should I say, faux nuts. Take it away, Kathy.
That's awesome.
Oh, can't hear you anymore.
Everybody's raving about the book. So you guys make sure you look at the chat. If you're watching the replay, it'll take a little while for the chat to come up, but it's super fun. People are wanting to know, have you ever made your own carob powder?
No, I didn't know you could, but my guess is you'd probably get the carob pods and maybe roast them and grind them. That's what I was guessing. Kind of like I've never made my own vanilla bean powder because I'm too lazy, but you could certainly just either dehydrate or at a low oven bake or, cook the vanilla beans and then grind them. So I would imagine you could do the same with carob.
Yeah, with vanilla beans, if I use the caviar for a special Ninja Creamy pint or something, I'll dehydrate the outside and go ahead and add that in with my vanilla powder. It's not as powerful. Tanya wants to know if Charles eats desserts every day, that she's going to have to pace herself with the recipes because her husband eats sad, even desserts. So she's going to be eating them all. So I like your freezer tip. That's a really good way to do it.
I got to tell you that I was a pastry chef at a Los Angeles restaurant for 5 years, and a third of these recipes were made in the restaurant. So even if you're a sad eater or not vegan, is your husband really going to know that the peanut butter chocolate cheesecake is not made with real cheese? Or, if these recipes aren't made with eggs, I wouldn't make him the cauliflower rice pudding or the chocolate covered kale chips. But if you make him this cupcake, I think you might think it's a cupcake. Hey, do you want me to show you a real quick recipe that I just made up last night? So yeah. I had just a little bit of this unsweetened vanilla yogurt because I did a demo yesterday of my chilled cantaloupe ginger soup. And I thought, well, what am I going to do with this? And so what I did is I took a banana, one that's not too ripe, because when I'm eating bananas, I don't like them super ripe. I like them actually more on the green side. And I took a banana and I just cut it up like this. I like this little tool. It just makes like perfect slices. And I can just go like that. So when I'm in my hand brace, because I signed 400 books at a book signing on Sunday, and I was wearing a hand brace, so I can still use this a lot easier than I use the knife. So I'm just slicing my banana, and then I'm just going to take a little bit of my streusel topping. This magical topping makes every dessert better. And actually, this is a vanilla version, but there's a chocolate version of the crumbs too. And I'm going to mix it up. And I already had my dessert for the day. I had the apple pie that won't make you die that I made on Mastering Diabetes yesterday. So I'm pretty full, but I will enjoy this later. It's really good because I love desserts that have some fruit in them that I can just make a little bit more special with these ingredients. And oh, that looks so good. Get everything out of here. And then a little bit more streusel. And this will be my dessert tonight. And hopefully the banana won't oxidize because it's got the other thing on it. So we've got a little, I don't know what to call it, maybe a parfait. So using a lot of the same ingredients.
That's like a breakfast parfait.
Why not? Maybe, and there's about 7 granola recipes in my book. I think you could add granola to that too.
Oh yeah, I saw your carrot cake granola, and that's on my list to make for sure. That looks delicious.
I love that one. Yep. And Kathy, there's even one granola, especially because people that are following more of a McDougall program, traditional granola can be very high in fat, even if it's not oil, lots of nuts. And there is one in there like that that's fabulous. But there's one granola recipe that's just bananas and oats. That's it. And that's what a lot of people have for breakfast. But this way you can have a crunchy version of it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so amazing. Ronnie Travel says, I'm allergic to oats. Are there many recipes in Chef AJ's new book that are oat-free?
Well, like I said, use nuts then. You know what I mean? Where the oats are, use the nuts then.
I think that makes great sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, I think, and start make the mousse parfait, and maybe you can lead me through it, Chef AJ.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy.
So it is easy, and it's Goldhammer approved. Now, just so you know, I just spent 8 days with him at Rancho La Puerta learning how to play basketball. Not very good, but I do shoot better now that he gave me the trick. Apparently, you got to push up from your knees instead of just using your upper body. He's so good. Every 10 free throws, he makes at least 9 of them. Anyway, so he did endorse the book, and what he wrote was hilarious because we have the same publisher, and he wanted Bob to call the book Desserts to Die For That Won't Kill You. And so this Mango Mousse Parfait was actually created in an Iron Chef competition at the True North Health Center one year that I was working there. And the ingredients I was given were oats, cashews, and mango. And actually it was the mango mousse tart. The parfait is just an easier version because you don't have to make the crust.
Oh, that's awesome. So Tanya's saying for the recipes with cream cheese, the only ones I have where she is are BioLife and Dea. Would you, would making just a cashew cream or a tofu cream cheese work the same measurement?
Absolutely. There's not very many recipes with cream cheese. There are only 3. The peanut butter mousse that tastes like a frozen Snickers bar pie and the peanut butter chocolate cheesecake. That's so funny when that happens.
Fergus says hello. Just remember, even though I'm cooking up here, you're not eating it. It's going to be okay.
That is hilarious.
He never jumps up when I'm cooking.
That's so funny. Oh, Cute.
Come on, Bunny. Let's come down. Can you? He's
That
like,
is the
no.
difference between cats and dogs. The dogs, I've never seen them walk across the counter.
Well, when we first got Max, who's a hound pit mix, one of the things that he did was jump straight up on my desk. So
that's funny.
Okay, you going to come down? Excellent. All right. So one thing I did, and I'm going to just go to me for a second, and you can, just so we can show people, it should be pretty easy. It's 2 cups of cashews. I went ahead and soaked them and drained them, but you didn't say to soak them, but these seemed a little dry to me.
Yeah, soaking is never a bad idea when you have time.
Okay, awesome. And then we've got 2 pounds of frozen mangoes, which was 2 of the organic ones of Trader Joe's. And I'm just going to put that in with the liquid as well, correct?
Yeah, the liquid is great. There's a lot of sweetness in the liquid.
Okay, awesome. Get those in there. And then I soaked some dry mangoes. Let's see if I can mute. Yeah, okay. I'm muting you for a second. Then I'm going to go ahead and put the soaked dried mangoes. And I'm going to unmute you. And can you tell us why we're using dry mango?
Yes, absolutely. This is something I learned like in 2008 from Dr. Furman when he was making his ice creams. He always would soak a little bit of the dried fruit in because it gives it a little bit more intensity, and more sweetness. Okay,
that makes sense then. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some, lime juice, a 1/4 cup of lime juice, and we're going to put in some lime zest. Sorry for all the noise. It's medley time. Okay, here we go. And one thing I do with limes often, like this one's getting to be a little on the outs, is I'll go ahead and zest a bunch of them, freeze the zest, and freeze the juice in ice cube trays so that you could just pop a frozen one in there. Gonna get all of the zest. Okay, so this is the bottom part. And I'm going to see if I turn you back on if the echo is not as bad, but I think it's pretty bad. So I'm going to mute myself. If you want to talk while I'm blending this.
Sure. That's cool. Well, hey, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. We're also multi-streaming on my channel, but I'm not in a position to see the comments right now, but I promise I'll look afterwards to do my best to answer them. But I think everyone who has ordered the book or who will order the book, especially by Saturday, to increase my chances of being a New York Times bestseller, just know that whenever you bought the book, as long as it's by August 31st, we will honor that bonus, the over $1,000, even if you forget to submit it till like next month. But it does have to state August 31st or sooner on your receipt. If you have any problems claiming your bonus, just write to help@chefaj.com. We will do our best to get back to you quickly. We are a small organization. There's 2 of us, me and Charles, and I have a virtual part-time assistant, Linda, who's actually on vacation now, but we are not ignoring you, we promise. And if you have the time and inclination, we'd love for you to put an honest review on Amazon, but only if it's honestly good. No, just kidding. Anyway, I hope you enjoy all the photos in the book, because everyone said on my last book, which had 10 beautiful, colorful photos from Hannah Kaminsky, that you want a picture with every recipe, and you have that now. And when I come back on, I will show you some of my favorites. And Kathy licked her finger. She said it was good. I should have told her how much this makes, because you really can cut this recipe in half. But just like with savory foods that I do batch cooking, I like to batch cook the desserts if I'm going somewhere, because we do a lot of potlucks here. The one exception would be like the thumbprint cookies. It makes 6 or 8 cookies. And so if you have a craving, you don't have to have cookies in the house all the time, because you can whip those up in about 5 minutes. So that's that.
Okay. So yeah, you were just saying, I could hear a little bit. You were saying it makes a lot.
It does. And I should have said, and Kathy, let me ask you a question, Kathy. because, at first you said, well, can I do a Ninja Creamy recipe? And I'm like, well, of course you can, but you're already known for that. But I just had this idea, Kathy. What if you took some of that and froze it in a Ninja Creamy pint and then got back to me about it?
I was thinking of asking you if I made a little bit like a variation and put in the creamy pint. Because I was thinking this would be great with this as the raspberry we're going to make as a swirl. And a couple of questions just for, like, if someone's allergic to nuts, do you have something that you would replace this with? Would it be silken tofu or?
Yeah, okay, so, I got to think about that for a minute. But before I forget the thought I had, maybe you could freeze some of it as is in the Ninja Creamy and then do other things to it if you feel like it needs more, I don't know, more liquid. So the nuts are basically providing that richness that you find in mousses. Traditional mousses would be heavy cream or egg yolks, the kind of thing. So tofu is, even though it's a little bit higher in fat than other beans, I don't know if it would have that exact, cashew cream is like, it's the bomb. When we go to the Plantrition conference, or at least last year, every dish was amazing. Every dish, because they didn't know how to do SOS free, but they just put cashew cream in every dressing. I mean, that was like delicious stuff. So what would I do? Because I don't know if oats would make it creamy enough. And I think avocado would turn it green. So, tofu would be my best guess. Or coconut. What about coconut cream?
Coconut cream might, but I think you might have to have some sort of thickener in there. So, like, the two things I was considering, obviously, moving outside of your perfect recipe. So everybody watching, this is from Kathy's Mad Scientist Mind, which means it's not tested and hasn't been done. But I make a lot of silken tofu mousses, and I think this might work really well. You might, if you use silken tofu, I think you might need to drain the mango possibly, and then add it in if it was okay, if it wasn't too wet. That's the only thing, the caveat with tofu. What I was thinking of doing is adding some okara or pulp from the soy milk, because I've been making sour cream and cream cheese and ranch dressings, and it would get this texture. And actually,
well, if anybody could figure it out, it's you. And we were talking about you today, Kathy. Yeah, we were talking about Kathy. No, me and that looks cool.
And that's just the okara that I'm talking about. It's just strained soy milk pulp.
Oh, I just had an idea.
I want to hear it.
So the person that can't have nuts, they can't have any nuts. Is that correct?
Yeah, this hypothetical person I've made up in my head can't.
Okay, so here's the thing. And again, I'm almost positive that there are vegan cream cheeses that are not nut-based out there, that are soy-based. I would do that because
Tofuti, but I think it may have oil in it, but I'm not positive. Okay. I don't have any with me.
Right, but I'm just saying, let's just say it was a nut allergy. That was what I would be thinking.
Yeah.
So Kathy, me and Tammy Kramer were talking about you this morning. And our very favorite vegan restaurant, Zest, closed yesterday. And she made the most delicious dressings and sauces and food in general. And my favorite thing on the menu, the raw nori wrap, she put this spicy Thai ginger dressing on. And she made it in my house, right in front of me. But would you be able to figure out how to make it, I don't care if it's low fat, but healthier? Because what she does is she puts in sesame oil, not a lot. But would you be able to make this when the ingredients are basically, so she's using maple syrup, coconut aminos, and sunflower seeds, and the sesame oil. So could you figure out a way to make us a spicy Thai ginger dressing? We don't care particularly if it's low fat, but we would like it to not have sugar. We would rather use dates than maple syrup. And whatever you can do to make it salty with like the least amount of something or other, but this was like the best dressing in the whole world.
Oh, totally. If you can get me the ingredient list so I can make it as she made it and taste it, because like one of the things I actually recently did maybe it's not as recent, but I did a Thai curry paste class so they could make them SOS. So when we made like Thai red curry, Thai green curry, we used a little bit of coconut milk. We used some regular milk, but also I'm finding adding this okara is kind of like adding cream cheese or sour cream or something. It's completely flavorless, but it gives a really good texture. So this is the topping, and I didn't feel the need to have a big shebang about it. It was one thing of organic raspberries, frozen. These were thawed, and in the recipe it says thawed, and a 1/4 cup of date paste. I did just kind of snag off some Date Lady paste, so it's a little bit. We'll see if I need to add some water. That's what I'm saying. So I'm going to put me on mute and let you just have at it. Talk as much as you want.
Do you see any questions, Charles? Because I can answer them while Kathy's blending. If you see any on my page.
Let's see if we can find some questions here.
Let's
see. Someone says, "Did you change the strawberry cheesecake recipe? I remember having vegan cream cheese in it."
Yeah, I didn't change it. Is there a misprint? Hold on, let me check. Oh boy, there are. I just wish there was never mistakes in a book. It does happen. I will show you my favorite picture, though, the spoons. So let me look up the strawberry cheesecake recipe. That would be under the freeze it section. Please don't tell me there's another mistake. HMNOPQPQRS. Okay, well, that's what indexes are for. Okay, spoon in.
And while you're looking at that, and with the comments, so somebody says they can't do oats, so they use quinoa flakes, and I think that's a perfect thing to use. So look how pretty
and
this is.
And maybe even millet, No, it's there. Oh, let me double check. Page 113.
Tanya did give. There was one correction. I think it's in your eggnog ice cream. Is that what you're looking at now?
I know everybody's finding that. It's missing it. No,
I know
it's there. The cream cheese is right there on page 113. 1 8-ounce package dairy-free cream cheese. So, I'm glad that wasn't a mistake. But speaking of the strawberry cheesecake, I just want to show you one of the cutest pictures in the book. It's a 7-year-old named Luca, who is now 9, who took my dessert master class 2 years ago, made it himself, and you get that 18 hours of dessert masterclass if you get the book by August 31st. It's part of your bonus.
That's amazing. So I'm just putting a little bit of this on top. So like for Cheryl's, I would either blend this a little longer or even maybe strain out some of the seeds for her because she's that person. She can't have any seeds. But like you were saying in the book, you could use cherries, you could use strawberries, you could do things like that as well. And they're so pretty. I didn't get any fresh raspberries, so I don't have any to put on top. But Apple was going back to the possible substitutions for cashews, and Apple says roasted white sweet potato, and that's perfect and a brilliant idea. And what I would use.
That's a great idea. Right? Hannah yam, because then you're gonna have the creaminess.
Right. And I was thinking, because usually what I do, and I was thinking for this, because this is going to be an extra rich pint for me, which will be great. We'll save it for celebration. But I might cut down some of the cashew fat by adding in, when I do a creamy pint, I use a whole food thickener. You could use nuts, but usually I use like sweet potato or okara or something like that. And then someone else was saying butter beans, pureed butter beans might work as well.
Why not? I mean, these are all great ideas.
With the butter beans, I think you would probably have to add a little bit of another sweetener than just the mango. Maybe add a couple of dates. It won't be sweet.
Right. And, Kathy, you could layer that, if you wanted to layer the raspberry part and get stripes.
Mm-hmm. And I have some little bitty cups that I use to have a little, if we have a bunch of people over, so I can just, we went out someplace a long time ago and they had these little 2-bite desserts. And so this would be really great for a party and just to have that. And I'm wondering too, could you not just freeze some of this anyhow?
I don't see why you couldn't. And, like you mentioned, the little cups, I believe they're 2 ounces. And when we used to make this at True North for New Year's Eve, that's what we would do because, he doesn't believe in pleasure at all. And so he allowed us to have dessert on Christmas and New Year's. And we would have these small little cups,
Well, what's interesting, I think the only mistake I found in the book, which maybe it's not, it says this recipe serves 4.
Yeah.
And for really hungry people, so you don't eat for a week, you just eat on your section. I think it's more like 14.
Charles, write that down. We might need, okay, so here's the thing. So, one of the criticisms I got in all my books, and because I come from the McDougall and Goldhammer School of Eating ad libitum, is I never wrote serving sizes because I don't know how hungry people are. So a better way to do it would have been to say makes 4 cups or something. So the people that were testing the recipes, that's what they got. That's what they got. That is so fun.
And it's hard because when I've worked with a publisher before too, I'll say things like, makes 8 to 12 servings. So I'm always putting this range and they're always trying to narrow me down. I'm like, some people eat a half a cup of soup and some people eat 2 cups of soup and I can't be responsible.
I know, it's so hard. I just don't, because of everything from taking McDougall and losing weight on that program. And I don't like people to think they can own, how hungry are you? That depends. So Charles is saying, where do I buy Cara powder? Well, first of all, you can buy it online. Of course, Amazon. Where I get it in person are Whole Foods or Sprouts. That's the only stores I've seen it in person.
Okay. Yeah, I get a lot of things on Amazon. And in fact, when I was looking for the mango, I found, and I don't know where I set the big thing, I got a big thing of dried organic mango, and I get the same brand of cashews. And so I just get that brand of, we don't use cashews a lot here, but I do take them with me. So I only had my 2 cups of cashews left that were for 2 trips we're going to take. So I ordered new cashews just for you, because then I can make a quick milk in the morning for our oatmeal and we don't have to strain it. But cashews are delightful and delicious. And what I would do too is if you've made this, if someone out there has made this thinking they were going to eat it all tonight, try freezing it in popsicle trays. Freeze it in your Ninja Creamy pints. I would even freeze it in silicone small pieces. You could even maybe dust it with something or a dip or something like that, or just let it thaw back out. You probably will have to re-blend it if you freeze something like this. It'll probably separate a little bit. Blend it, and then it'll be ready for your last minute guests who popped by for, I don't know, veggie burgers.
Yes, freezing it in silicone cups is a great idea. You could even put the raspberry sauce on the bottom or swirl it.
Ooh. Okay, so this is what I was thinking with the creamy pint before we even talked at all. So I was thinking I was going to make this and maybe make it a little bit less calorie dense. Or maybe I'll do both. We'll talk about this if you'll let me print this, or I'll just print the less calorie dense one. And then, because you can't really swirl in the Ninja Creamy, but you can make this and then you spin it and then you swirl it in a bowl and it would be just stunning.
It's beautiful together, the 2 colors.
They really are.
Yeah, serves 4. Well, that's oh, why didn't I have you look at the recipes? That's you are cracking me up.
But you know what? I've done a lot of cookbooks, and it's always you go back and forth between so many different editors that things get taken out, they get put back in, and so yeah. When I was looking at those, because I'm like, there's no world that Chef AJ gives me a half a cup of cashews for dessert.
With 8 ounces of mango. We can laugh about this in years to come,
Well, and you can laugh right now, because here's the thing, publishers don't like that I do this, so I don't tell them anymore. But like we go through like the 3 different editors or 4 different editors in house. Cheryl looks at it. I send it to my testers. I send it to all my friends, and they all find something different that no one else in the world would ever find. So by the time like my ebook 2 came out, 30 people have looked at it and found stuff, and I've corrected it. And there'll still be more stuff. It's just, you just made someone's whole year. Probably their husband, the sad eater husband's going to be like, I get a quarter of that. Okay, maybe I can be part of this lifestyle. Maybe you've just converted sad eaters over to our side.
So funny. That's so funny.
Francine says, what about sunflower seeds? Many times nut allergic people can eat seeds. Don't they have a flavor to me? I don't know if they do.
They're more like, the thing about cashews though, they're very neutral. That's why you can make sour cream out of them and cream cheese and all kinds of things. I do like seeds very much, but it's kind of like, well, people say, why can't I use raisins instead of dates? Dates are just sweet. Raisins have a very kind of like almost strong and distinct flavor. So would there be a seed you could use? If somebody was going to use a seed, I would say hemp seed, because that is the most neutral.
Oh, I like that. I haven't used that a lot. CJ has a request for you for the future. She would dearly love a whole food plant-based recipe for Bakewell tart.
What is that?
Isn't that the one that has like jam in the middle? You want me to look it up?
Yeah, or Charles, what's a Bakewell tart? Can you look that up, Charles? Can you Google it on your...
While I'm looking at that, someone wanted to know, are these desserts freezer-friendly for a household of 1?
Yes. I think that everything is freezer-friendly. Now, certain things don't taste as good if you defrost them. Like, for example, I can give you an example, the cauliflower rice pudding. But there's a whole section in this book called Chill It, where we want you to freeze it, And so I would say all the muffins are freezer-friendly, all the cakes, all the bars. Let me go through the thing and see if there's anything that I wouldn't say is freezer friendly. Maybe that hot apple pie fries, I probably wouldn't freeze those. There's no need to freeze the granolas because you've dried those. And I don't know if I would freeze the milks. There's a whole milk section. But I like Kathy's suggestion about turning the mango mousse into popsicles, because any of the smoothies or the shakes can be turned into popsicles if you have a popsicle mold.
And you can put them in the Ninja Creamy too. So if you have the original, you could fill them halfway up, and then you could add some non-dairy milk or water to make your shake, or that later on. So you could prep a whole week of smoothies from your book.
Yeah. I've frozen so many things, the cinnamon bun cupcakes. I've never needed to freeze the cookies because they seem to keep without freezing. Same with date paste. It lasts so long. I've frozen the jam bars. I've frozen the blondies. I've frozen the brownies. Haven't frozen the fruit cake because only make that once a year and it just gets eaten. I would say the majority of everything in here could be frozen, or cut down the recipe by half. I wouldn't cut it down by more than half, but you could cut a lot of these in half.
When I was looking through things, I was thinking it would be really nice to make the whole recipe, but then maybe, like you were saying, use mini cupcake silicone pans, or I have a little square brownie pan that makes kind of like 2 serving brownies and things like that. So that way you could have one, but you don't feel like you have to have them all.
I have that too. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Oh,
and Mona was...
Hi, Karen.
When the signed books will be sent.
Karen Gaylor, thank you for ordering. I signed 400 books on Sunday at a seat at the table. And I know that Maureen, who lives near me, got hers today. I thought they were mailing them Monday. You are a little bit farther, so you should get yours soon. And just please remember to claim your bonuses. But Maureen got hers today. So Karen, I would say maybe you'll get yours tomorrow because you're a little bit farther.
They are going medium mail.
Oh, they're going medium mail. So, but I do remember specifically signing your book on Sunday.
Someone else had trouble getting the bonuses and sent to help and didn't hear back. So but we texted or inside the chat to go to sweetindulgencebook.com and upload. And if they still don't hear, if that still doesn't work, then to send it to help at Chef AJ.
Yeah. So again, try again with the bonus website. And if that doesn't work, help at chefaj.com. We're not going to stiff you. We promise.
Oh, someone else asked, is there a paperback version?
Well, the book, okay, so this is a paperback, and this is called the ARC, the Advanced Reader Copy, which has lots of mistakes, and they only printed a few of them. We polled everyone, not just our readers, but all the bookstores that the books are in, and they said that hardcover books, when they're cookbooks, sell better. And the other thing about hardcover book is this softcover book, as I open it, it doesn't stay open. But a hardcover book, when you open it, it stays open automatically. The other thing is we have glossy pages, so if you spill something on it and can wipe it off right away, it will come off, depending on what you spill. Maybe not raspberry sauce, but I've gotten a few things on it. So, yep. And there is a Kindle version, and Kindle still counts for New York Times bestseller, and it still counts for the bonuses. I just feel that this is such a beautiful book. It's that you might want to consider getting it just to see, what the beautiful pictures look like instead of on a small reader. And remember, Christmas isn't that far away. You can get these as gifts, get them now, and the people you get it for can get the bonuses. As long as you use a different email with a different receipt, they can get the bonuses. I got to show you, Kathy, I don't know if you saw the picture of me at a bunch of different ages.
I did.
I was eating dessert from the age of 3 to the age of 12. Well, actually, even now, but that's my favorite. My favorite.
And CJ says it's a cake with raspberry jam, the Bakewell tart, and almond. Is it frangipane?
Oh, gosh. Is it kind of like a Linzer tort? Is it like a Linzer tort? Because I used to love those. It was like almond. It was like a...
Oh, somebody else said there's, almonds. Has jam and almonds in a pastry case. That does sound...
Yeah. I'm guessing you would use almond flour. So off the top of my head, I'm thinking dates and almond flour, and maybe even a tiny bit of almond extract to bump up, or almond paste, marzipan. Is what, yeah, and that's how I would think it. And then the jam part will be easy. It's just raspberries and chia.
Or you can even do the raspberry and date like this topping, couldn't you?
Absolutely.
Because this is kind of like it's a thick consistency.
Yeah, Charles just pulled it up, and it's a British almond jam tart. And click it, Charles, and let's see what the ingredients are. Okay, so it says, can you scroll up a little bit? Yeah. Okay, so we're looking it up right now. And the crust is made out of pastry flour, confectioner's sugar, salt, unsalted butter, egg yolk. The filling is made out of unsalted butter, granulated sugar, salt, almond flour, egg white, almond extract, raspberry jam, and half a cup of almonds. So what I would do just off the top of my head, and I can see that it's made in a fluted pie crust, is you would want to make your crust out of almond flour. So I would use almond flour or almond meal, which is just ground up almonds and dates, and maybe a little bit of almond extract. And then you can press it in your fluted tart, and then do your filling with raspberry jam, either that you make or you buy, and then put slivered toasted almonds on top. That's how I would do it. It actually sounds really delicious. I don't think I have almond flour right now. Otherwise, I'd literally make it for you right now. Awesome. I really would, because I could. I have the jam and yeah.
Well, another time we'll get together and make that maybe.
Yeah.
Because someone is saying, JNo99, how long do you dehydrate the oatmeal cookies? I'm going to take them hiking next weekend, so she wants to make sure that they're dry enough.
So the oatmeal cookies, I don't dehydrate, but the granola usually overnight is enough.
Okay.
The thing about dehydrators is, one of the things that affects dehydrating time is how full your dehydrator is. And Lissa talks about this with her wraps. If you only have 1 or 2 trays, it dehydrates very quickly. But if you're using all 9 trays, that little fan does not dehydrate and dry them very much. Usually I'm doing 2 or 4 trays at the most at a time. And so what I often do is when I'm making dehydrated things, I make it, maybe in the middle of the day or later in the day in the afternoon. And then, so that way, before I go to bed, I can flip it, because I'm flipping it when it's just dry to the touch. And then usually when I wake up in the morning, it's ready. So that would be, maybe 16 hours or so. And it also depends how thin you spread it, right? So there's different times. So usually like overnight is a good way to do it. That's what Lissa recommends for her wraps, because then it's drying while you're sleeping. I have so much. I just got back from Mexico and I got so much granola, because I don't like to eat granola. It's not that I don't like to eat granola when I'm home and can eat something that's maybe a little bit healthier. But when I'm starved for food in another country, that's my go-to. And but I'm kind of sick of it right now. Actually, I've got a great one made with pumpkin, and so granolas are very fun, and but they're very crunchy.
And that's something that I always miss sometimes, is crunchy. Crunchy is so awesome. Colleen says,
I've got so much granola, I can mail you some. Did we mail you already your hardcover book?
Yeah, that's what I have here.
I was going to say we could just put some granola in there, because I got so much granola.
You even signed it for me.
Did I sign it nicely?
You did. You signed it so nice I can even put it in front of everybody. But Colleen is saying, are the recipes for these today here somewhere? No, they're in Chef AJ's Sweet Indulgence book, so you can order it. You can watch the video again and kind of probably figure it out. Do you have this on any of your sites at all, either of these recipes?
If you want to give it out, I'm okay with it. The brownies are like, what did I do? I did 2 cups of oats, 1 cup of dates, quarter cup of carrot powder or cocoa powder, and a little bit of, and half a teaspoon of vanilla powder. That was it. Very easy. Or you can use nuts. I mean, these are so easy, or nuts instead of the oats. Yeah.
And this is mostly mango with cashews and a little bit of dried mango, lime juice, and lime zest, and then the raspberry topping, which I think looks a lot like jam. It's quite thick. I used Date Lady date paste, so it was thicker than some if I had made homemade date paste.
And that would be a great, that is fantastic.
Right? So this would be good for the inside of a...
The wrap recipes you can find on the website or the Instagram of Raw Food Romance. She has a fabulous, fabulous book. Kathy, have you made any of Lissa's wraps?
I've eaten one. I have everything to make them. I just haven't had the time to sit down and do it. I know once I make them once, I'm going to make them every week. We can't really give out copyrighted recipes, especially from somebody else's book, but they are fabulous. If you went to her Instagram page, I don't know if she even gives any of them out just like that, but they are very, very good, because they're not made out of flour or nuts. They're made out of just fruits and vegetables, and they're savory though. Okay, that sounds delightful. Deborah says, thank you. By the way, love both of your t-shirts. So
hey, Deborah Chan, I know you. Hello. I hope you'll come to something soon. We miss you.
And Leanne says, this was just perfect. 2 of my favorites. Thank you both so much for what you do.
Oh, we love it. Thank you for watching us.
Tanya
you can
says,
watch Kathy.
Oh, I'm so sorry. It's so hard to not
interrupt. You can watch Kathy. I think you probably have at least 30 videos on my channel by now, maybe more.
Yeah, I think I have about 500 on YouTube right now, which is still a sliver compared to you. A sliver. Tanya says, if we don't have a dehydrator, does that mean we can't make any of the recipes from that section?
No, it doesn't mean that. I don't like to say that you can do something that I haven't done. And I know people do dehydrate in a Breville or in a regular oven on the convection setting. But because I haven't done it and I don't have expertise in it, I don't like to tell you how to do it. I know people have. The thing about a dedicated dehydrator is that it, as high as it goes, is lower than your oven will ever go. So I believe 135, if you crank your dehydrator all the way up, it won't go any higher. I don't know ovens that can go that low. The other reason I like the tool that the job was invented for is with a dehydrator, just like an Instant Pot, you can leave your house, you can set it, you can forget it. If you're dehydrating in your oven, you can't go to bed. You got to wait for it to be done. And to me, that's just not a benefit at all. So you I have so many people that have gotten Excalibur dehydrators for like, and I'm not kidding, $29 on places like eBay, Facebook Marketplace, and garage sales, because so many people buy them thinking, I don't know what they're thinking. They're going to make beef jerky, and they don't. So, I just feel that it comes out better if it's that machine, but that doesn't mean you can't make them.
I agree completely too, because it's a pain. You probably have to crack your oven open. Maybe you have a cat or a dog. It's a lot of stress. But you can't see here in this one, but I have the Breville. And don't forget, the Breville Oven Air does have a dehydrator function. It is not as good as the Excalibur. Shocker. This costs less than that and doesn't only dehydrate. So I did a dehydrator class, and I was shocked at how fast everything dehydrated in the Excalibur. But if you're just doing a few things, I think and that's what you have, that would work. Just maybe start in the morning, take it out before you're done.
I know a lot of people, they don't, if they live in a tiny house, they don't have a lot of space, so they don't want to make another purchase. But I find that, if you have it and you like the yield, you may use it, because you can also make so many things in a dehydrator. Like when tomatoes are in season, you can make your own sun-dried tomatoes, which are pretty expensive when you think about it. Any kind of fruit that you can score when it's ripe, you can dehydrate that. Kale chips are fantastic in the dehydrator. I find when I've tried them in the oven, they would be very, very crumbly and they wouldn't stay intact. The thing is if you have limited kitchen space, there's so many other places you can possibly keep your dehydrator. I keep mine in the laundry room. There's a lot of counter there, and I don't need to be folding my laundry on the counter. I can fold it, in the room that the laundry goes in, for example. So, I'm seeing it, so I remember it. I make it. When you have leftover whatever, you can dehydrate it. So to give you an example, I was recently given my friend some chocolate mousse because we did one of these demos, and she couldn't get it through TSA because even though it wasn't a liquid, they said it was spreadable. And so I've known people that have gotten their hummus taken away by TSA. Not if it was already in the sandwich, but if they brought like some hummus to snack on the plane. You can take hummus and put it on the Teflex sheet of the dehydrator. You can dehydrate it, and then you can crumble it in your food processor. And then when you get to your destination, you can rehydrate it. So you can do things like that even with soups. So I love my dehydrator, but I use it a lot too. So I can understand if you don't. I would recommend, if you get one though, get the 9 tray instead of the 5 tray, because that 5 tray, boy, that fills up real quickly. With the 9 tray, you can leave spaces between the trays.
Oh, and oops, sorry, I meant to go to both of us. Hello, we're both back now. It's kind of nice to have that extra airspace. Is going to let things, dehydrate faster, just the same way as in your Breville. That's why you were only supposed to use 2 air fryer trays and not just shove as many as you can in there.
Yeah.
Okay, we got time for just a couple more questions. Chris says, I have a dehydrator that's round. Do you need one with tray? So I have that, and you guys can all find it. So it's like the old round stackable one. You wouldn't be able to make Lissa's wraps in them.
Yeah, the only thing you can't make in a round one is Lissa's wraps, because they call for this specialized tray. But other recipes, round ones are fine. The shape doesn't matter.
And the round ones, you can get at thrift stores sometimes for $10, and oftentimes people are just giving them away. So if you post something, we have a Bull City Shares, or if you have a Buy Nothing group, if you're looking for a dehydrator, just ask. Sometimes there's swap groups.
Or FreeCycle. I don't know if you guys have freecycle.com. Mm-hmm. It's amazing what you can get, what people don't want. Estate sales. But I tell you, Facebook Marketplace and eBay, they're like, people say, I used it once and that was it.
Mm-hmm. A lot of times people buy appliances. That's why I do a lot of work with appliances, or like try a whole bunch of milk makers, so you guys hopefully don't have to give away all the things. Jeremy's favorite things to dehydrate are basil, oregano, and peppers from the garden, which is awesome.
It's great to do that. When you have a bounty of anything, it's wonderful to do that, because you save a lot of money, and then you have the kind of food you need for the apocalypse.
I like that a lot. Okay. Do you have any parting words? Because I know you have an important appointment to be to. We're at 5:37, so we're going to make it all so you can get there.
Parting words? Well, my feeling is that a lot of people feel guilty when they eat desserts. because traditional desserts, whether they're vegan or not, are made from what I think of as unhealthy processed ingredients like sugar, like flour, like oil primarily. And they don't really fill you up because you don't get satiety from these things because there's no fiber or water or vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, antioxidants, or micronutrients. But when you eat dessert from the fruit, the whole fruit, and nothing but the whole fruit, for example, these thumbprint cookies are dates and oats. And a lot of people eat oats for breakfast and they put maybe dates in their oats, and the jam is just raspberries. You know, you can really not feel like you have to dessert and not have the guilt that's often associated with traditional desserts. Plus the fact that they're vegan, so they're animal friendly and planet friendly, and there's no gluten for those for whom that's important. I don't think you'll miss the gluten, even if you're somebody that eats gluten. They're kosher if that is important to you, and they are free of refined sugar, oil, salt, and many of them are low fat, so suitable for those that need a lower fat treat. So I think everyone who's bought the book or who's considering buying or who put a wonderful review on Amazon, I hope you enjoy the book. And I also hope you'll make sure to claim your bonuses, because if you ever get stuck at a recipe, you'll have the video to guide you through. And I'd love to hear from the person who eats 1/4 of the mango mousse and how full they got from eating it.
That may be me. No, I'm sorry.
That's another thing, because you know, it's interesting, Kathy, because, you know, I used to be much heavier and I used to eat a lot of traditional desserts before I was vegan. Like we had a store near us called Ralph's, and I love white. I'm not a chocolate person. I'm a vanilla person. I'd eat white cupcakes with white frosting and sprinkles, and they came in a 6-pack, and I'd eat the whole thing. I don't eat the whole thing with these desserts because your body, your brain recognizes the nutrients, the fiber as food. And I would be hard pressed to find the person that could eat a quarter of that. It's just too rich.
No, I eat a little one and I'm done.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen? That's why I'm going to freeze it or make ice cream with it or something like that. And
I would love to, let me know when you do that video of that. I'd love to see how it comes out in the Ninja Creamy.
Okay. I'll for sure. I think I'm going to make one just with this, and then I'm going to make one with part this and part something else, if that's okay. Do I have your permission?
Of course. And you can do a side by side.
Yeah. Because like with Chef Yin for my book, we did the one that went in is the whole food plant-based recipe. She gave me one that had like fresh coconut. It was not that it's bad. It just was heftier is all. And so we did those side by side at a demo. So I think this would be really fun. So I think that's awesome. And somebody got their bonus blessing. Fox is on the moon.
Thank you.
And you guys, go ahead. And I noticed too, it was on sale on Amazon too. Those of you who pre-ordered.
The more people that buy them, the more they lower the price. If you want a signed copy, like Karen Gaylor got, a seatathetable.org. They maybe aren't as fast as Amazon, but you can get a personal signed copy with whatever you want me to say.
All right. So Struth says, I have the book and have to do morning tea at work. What do you suggest as a to bring to work?
With a morning yes. Okay. The apple pie squares, the apple pie that won't make you die, the snickerdoodles, the caramel blondies. I think those things, the cinnamon bun cupcakes. I personally feel that things that aren't chocolate go better with tea than things that are chocolate. But I will tell you.
Me.
Charles, what was I eating the other day that I had to have tea to eat it for? I'm trying to remember now because I purposely remember I ate something. I said, I can't eat this without a cup of peppermint tea. What did we have here? Oh my goodness. No, that I can eat without a cup of tea. But there was something, I was like, no, we can't have this without a cup of tea.
Oh, here's another question.
Yeah.
My Instant Pot has a dehydrator setting. Will that work?
That is very interesting. I never heard of a dehydrator setting in an Instant Pot. So I honestly don't know, but that is very cool.
I don't think it will. It's very tiny, and since when you're doing that, you have the thing that goes on top of it, so it encloses it, so it's not going to lose the moisture as fast as a proper dehydrator or oven. I successfully made cut up a potato and made 6 or 7 fries. I mean, it's a very tiny space. You could make 1 cookie or 2 cookies if you want to try it out. That's what I would say. I tried the air fryer dehydrator stuff earlier, like years ago.
Yeah. I think the jam bars would go great with a cup of tea. And I think any of the muffins, literally any of the muffins, would be wonderful with a cup of tea, because that's what I would do. And I'm trying to remember what I ate the other day that I absolutely had to have tea before I would eat it. I will let you know next time I see you on a live.
That sounds
This was
awesome.
fun, Kathy. These were such easy recipes. Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate your watching and support of my work.
Yes, and please go get Chef AJ's book. What's the last day? Is the 31st, through the 31st to get?
The 31st, you can get the book whenever you want. But if you want the $1,000 worth of bonuses, and if you really want to help me become a New York Times bestselling author, please get it now. And even Bailey, would like you to get it for me, right?
My sweet little bunny. Oh, well, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Chef AJ, for your generosity and for creating this wonderful book. And we're wishing you well, and we'll be eating a lot of dessert coming up here. So have a great day, and I'll talk to all of you guys very, very soon.
Great. Sweets to the sweet. Thanks, everybody. Bye.